Am I the asshole for not allowing a baby monitor to be a substitute for a babysitter? My wife and I have small children under 5 years old. So does the couple next door. The way our street is set up, our front doors face each other. They are on the sides of our houses, and are only separated by about 15-20 feet. You can easily see inside one house from the other if the doors are open. The couple next door and my wife had a discussion when I wasn't around, and all agreed that if one of the couples decided to go out, we could just give the baby monitor to the other couple to watch the kids. In fairness to them, they only said they'd do this while the kids were asleep, so they're not leaving kids unsupervised and awake, and the signal for the baby monitor does reach from one house to the next. When I heard the idea, I immediately said no. What if there's a fire or some other emergency? What if the monitor's signal gets disconnected and we don't realize it? What if the kids wake up to find an empty house? My wife begrudgingly told the other couple the deal was off, and they've been cold to me ever since. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Why not just babysit the kids in that case? Not the asshole. That's ridiculous to think that a baby monitor substitutes for a babysitter. Yes, the chances of something going wrong are small, but should they? I'd not want to deal with the other family's wrath. I saw in the comments. Their idea is mainly for evenings when a couple might go out together. This solidifies it for me as not the asshole. I have actually done this for neighbors, but it was for situations like they were mowing the lawn and wouldn't be able to hear the baby monitor, so can you get me if the baby wakes up, or needing to run a quick errand, they'll be back in 10-15 minutes. If this is going to be for several hours, it's not appropriate to leave the baby unattended. Not the asshole. That is an extremely terrible, dangerous idea. Ask Madeleine McCann's parents about how well this system works. Not the asshole. I assumed at first that this was about using a baby monitor for dinners at each other's house, in which case I thought you might be a little overprotective, but the actual scenario proposed would be a hard no for me. Being watched by neighbors who have kids of their own to worry about through a monitor just would not make me feel safe at all. Someone to trade babysitting with is a wonderful thing, so I hope you can mend fences, but for me it'd have to be one member of a couple staying in the other couple's house for the evening. Not the asshole. Wow, that is possibly the worst idea in the history of bad ideas. How are the kids supposed to know their parents are gone? Because if you tell them they're gone, and no one is in the house, they're going to freak, but if you don't tell them the parents are gone, and they wake up and no one's there, they're going to freak. I can't believe any competent adult would believe this was okay. Not the asshole for not participating in what might easily become criminal neglect. Not the asshole. I know someone who did something similar. They would put their kids down for a nap and then go to a neighbor's house to hang out while the kids napped. Well, the screen froze and she didn't know it. Some maintenance workers heard the kids crying and called the cops. Needless to say, they had fun with CPS for a while. Not the asshole. Holy shit, how are you the only sane, responsible parent between the four of you? This is a huge no-no. So dangerous. Not the asshole. You're right, it would be very dangerous. Not the asshole. Baby monitors can have interference and they are not a substitute for actual in-person supervision. Until my middle child would wake up and walk around the house as an 18-month-old. My 3-year-old doesn't usually cry in the night when she wakes up, she simply gets up and walks around looking for me. If I'm not in my bed, she keeps looking for me. Kids don't always cry when they need help. Not the asshole. Why not just take turns babysitting for each other? Either you or wife can go and watch TV or whatever in their house and one of them can reciprocate another night. I know couples who do this, saves on babysitting costs, and the deal is you only go out after the kids are asleep. You're not the asshole. Wouldn't it be safer and more legal to agree to switch off babysitting duties once a week, or every other week? All the kids come to one house, those two parents watch them while the other set has a date night out somewhere. Next time switch. Well, that's a way of cheapening out on your kids' safety. Absolutely not the asshole for being a responsible person and parent. I live in a twin, and at night if the neighbor had to run a quick errand to like a drugstore or supermarket, she would just hand me the monitor on the deck. Our decks touched and I would just mind the monitor to make sure they didn't wake up. Never did it for full-blown babysitting, just like a quick 20-30 errand. If something came up, it was better than just sitting in her house for no reason. Not the asshole. If something happened at their house and the baby monitor malfunctioned, they'd blame you. Better get to the coldness without something going wrong. I could see relying on the baby monitor if one parent was home alone with baby and needed something critical unexpectedly, but this is not that. I think the other family planned on giving you the baby monitor habitually so they could hoe out for the evening and not pay a babysitter. Initially I thought this would be about having drinks together out in the yard, between the houses, because the baby monitors reached out there. Not the asshole, but this reminds me of what my parents did. They would call the neighbor. They would answer and leave the phone line open while they hung out and pick up the phone every once in a while to make sure we were asleep. Now that typed that out, I feel old AF. Not the asshole. I thought you were going to say that your wife wanted to go to dinner at their house and bring the baby monitor, which isn't a great idea, but in actuality they want to leave the entire neighborhood and leave the kids alone. Nope. Not the asshole. My first thought when I read this was Madeleine McCann. This is a dangerous and terrible arrangement. And I'm 99% sure it's also illegal. Absolutely not the asshole. What is so freaking important that any parent would leave their kid baby? How old? Unattended. And further, being uncomfortable with that doesn't warrant them being salty about it. Not the asshole. Hello, ever heard of Madeleine McCann? I don't consider myself overly cautious, but just know. My coworker got a neglect charge for doing that. Very sad. She was a single mom and wanted to go out. It can seem okay, but things can go wrong fast. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, but couldn't you come up with something else, like one weekend you or your wife hang out in their house and watch their sleeping kids, and the next weekend they could do the same for you? Then there would be one adult in the houses at all times and no one has to be the asshole. Not the asshole. Your concerns are valid. Whenever I hear people say stuff like this, I always think of Madeleine McCann. Not the asshole. When you decide to have kids, you should know that it is a full-time job. You don't get to go out to dinner unless you arrange a babysitter, not have your neighbor watch your baby cam. This is an incredibly dangerous and immature idea. So many things can happen. Not the asshole. Face with tears of joy, boohoo for them that you didn't want to be a neglectful parent. Nah. It is okay to be worried and say that this is something you do not want. But to me it is also something that does not seem very dangerous, so it was not an unreasonable idea. Explain to the neighbors how you feel and focus on that this would make you uncomfortable instead of that they are neglectful parents, and I am sure you can make peace. Eventually you will need to get used to that the children can be in situations with tiny amounts of danger. But I guess, baby steps. Not the asshole. I don't know if they were trying to get themselves called into CPS or not, but that's the way to do it. Info: have you shared these concerns with your neighbors? What did they say? Fully agree with your reasons, by the way. I was a foster parent for many years. I got a set of triplets at Christmas one year. Mom and oldest kid had gone out and left the 2-year-old triplets home alone, asleep. Dad comes home from trip early and can't get in, didn't take his keys on the trip. Calls the cops because he can't get a hold of GF or the oldest kid. Cops come, get inside, no parent around, kids taken into custody. Dad, who called cops? Not on the BC, had to get a paternity test to prove they were his kids. Honestly, not the asshole you do not want CPS in your life. Not the asshole, honestly if you see them going out watch the house. If you do not see a babysitter, call 911. What they are doing is not legal or safe. What if the kid gets up? What if someone breaks in? It only takes a few seconds for something bad to happen. Not the asshole. Thank you for being the voice of reason. My brother-in-law and his wife leave their baby and 7-year-old under the care of a ring cam so they can go to the store together. I was mortified. Not the asshole. Perhaps they should familiarize themselves with the Madeleine McCann case. Not the asshole, but what is wrong with maybe watching each other's kids in your homes? Why not have the little ones go to sleep at the neighbor's house or your house, and either send them home in the morning or pick up sleeping kids and migrate them to their